Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, The World in Chronological Order Part 2. All right, so the last video we stopped at the 1600s, and so we're going to start at the 1600s here. The colonies are individual states at this time with their own laws under the Articles of Confederation. In 1635, the first public school was established. In 1642, the Old Deluder Satan Act, or the Massachusetts Education Act. 1692 were the Salem witch hunts. And we're going to jump to 1776, when we declared independence from Great Britain. The Founding Fathers brought that document back to the United States, and began to build a federation. A federation is a group of states within a central government, but independent in internal control. Our states still have internal laws. In 1789, George Washington was voted in unanimously because there were no parties. 7 years later, in 1797, John Adams, the second president of the United States, ran under the Federalist Party. The Federalist Party believed in a strong central government, the new Constitution. They also believed that the wealthiest and the well-educated should be given the greatest power of this new government, hence the Anti-Federalist Party. The Anti-Federalist Party did not believe in a central government. They demanded a Bill of Rights, and they believed that the vast majority of ordinary people, less educated, had the skills and common sense to run a government. They were also afraid that the president might want to become a king and make it a monarchy again. So from 1797 to 1869, we had lots of parties. The Gangs of New York is a good reference. So I'm going to take a break here from that, and we're going to talk about the Federalist parties. In 1788 and 1789, the Federalist Papers were being written by some of the founding fathers. They are a collection of essays and articles. You can kind of look at the Federalist Papers as a draft of the Constitution, because eventually, like the separation of powers, the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch was in the Federalist Papers number 47. The Bill of Rights under the Federalist Papers, 84. Number 68 discusses the Electoral College process, which we will get back to, but it became constitutional law. It is Article 2, Section 1 of the U.S. Constitution. And on a side note, the Federalist Papers 10, 11, and 12 are very interesting readings. Okay. So, getting back to the Electoral College process in the Federalist Paper number 68, breaks it down this way. It was a compromise between having the president elected by Congress or elected by popular vote. Or another way you can say that is some of the founding fathers wanted Congress to elect the president. Others wanted the president to be elected by popular vote. All right, so let's explain the voting process. The Electoral College process. The founding fathers separated. The founding fathers, when they formed the Federation, the United States of America, they separated the branches. The White House is one branch. The legislative branch, and the judicial branch. What does that mean? Sorry, that's too high, but the executive branch is the White House. The legislative branch is the House of Representatives and the Senate. And then we have the judicial branch, which is the Supreme Court. Okay? Okay, so the Founding Fathers ended up giving the House of Representatives 438 votes and the Senate 100 votes, with a total of 538 votes. This branch didn't get any votes, and this branch didn't get any votes. Okay? Oh, and if you're a U.S. citizen, you hold a vote. So, when you go to the voting, when you go to register to vote, you register either as a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent. Now, if you voted Democrat and you register Democrat, your vote counts there. If you registered and voted as a Republican, then your vote counts. If you are a registered voter under an independent party, your vote might not count. Let me explain why. All right, so I'm going to explain Florida because that's where I live. So Florida has 22.3 million people. If Florida is 75%, if Florida is 1/3 Democratic, there's 75 million people. If 1/3 of Florida is a republic, that's 75 million people. Then you have 1/3 of Florida that are independent voters. That's 75 million people as well. It's a lot of votes. What happens to these votes is your electoral college representative or representatives, and in Florida we have 29. They can take those 75 million votes to the November election and put those 75 million votes towards whoever they want. So your vote didn't count. But it might have if you thought, oh, I like Trump, I'm going to vote for him. So then, yeah. Hope that makes sense. And to find your electoral college representatives, you just Google it per state. All right, let's get back here to 1865. Andrew Jackson, 17th President of the United States, was impeached. Why? Because he tried to dismiss the Secretary of War, Edward Stanton. He was impeached in 1868 under the high crimes and misdemeanors. Okay. Oh, I'm going to explain that in a minute, but let's go finish this up. In 1852, schools became mandatory. 1861, MIT was established. 1865, Lincoln was assassinated. National Labor Union for Wages and Workday was 1866. 1875, Civil Rights banning segregation. 1879, we had boarding schools. 1905, IQ testing began. 1916, the American Federation of Teachers was established. 1918, World War I ends. 1919, school bus funding began. 1926, the SATs were established. 1929 was the Depression. 1932, Roosevelt and his New Deal. 1941 to 45 was the World War II. 1946 was the beginning of the computer age. 1947, NATO was established. 1963, Kennedy was assassinated. 1965, Head Start. 1973, the abortion issue, Roe versus Wade. 1977, Texas Instruments with their little calculators were the first actual artificial intelligence being used. Apple Computer was in schools by 1977. 1998, Google was founded. In the year 2003, the Human Genome Project mapped the human DNA, which is why the government no longer funds Planned Parenthood. They don't need your DNA anymore. The stars have been mapped, the oceans have been mapped, the human body's been mapped. I hope this was educational. I hope you enjoyed it and want to learn more. Again, thank you. I do have a part 3. That's on religion. Very short, very easy to follow. Thank you. Have a great day.